sabe, la escalera según se entra. La escalera de mi casa de Maple Grove. Nadie puede verla sin admirarse. Reconozco que soy extremadamente parcial en todo lo que se refiere a Maple Grove. Pero, como le digo a mi caro esposo, viéndome obligada a vivir en Highbury, no puedo menos de añorarla. Por eso me ha sorprendido tan agradablemente su casa de Hartfield, tan parecida a Maple Grove. Algo más pequeña, desde luego. Tal vez menos suntuosa.
Sí, estoy seguro, señora Elton. ¿Qué hay, Jane?
La señorita Woodhouse y la señorita Smith acaban de regresar, señor.
Dígales que tengan la bondad de venir.
Ay, me alegro lo indecible de poder conocerla antes de terminar mi visita.
Bueno, temo que solo el tiempo de saludarlas. Recuerda que habíamos citado a los Perry.
Los Perry pueden esperar.
Ah, aquí están. No se moleste. Ah.
¿Cómo está usted, señor Elton?
Muy bien, señorita Woodhouse. ¿Y usted? Augusta, te presento a la señorita Woodhouse.
Encantada. Deliciosamente encantada. He oído hablar tanto de usted.
¿Al señor Elton? Buenos días, señor Elton.
Buenos días, señorita... Augusta, te presento a la señorita...
Harriet Smith. Su marido, considerando lo mucho que nos visitaba, tiene muy mala memoria para los apellidos. Le hemos echado mucho de menos, señor Elton.
Ah, bien. Le ruego me disculpe.
No creo que debamos retrasarnos más. Recuerda a los Perry.
Ah, sí, tienes razón, Cherry. Señor Woodhouse.
Permítame que les acompañe.
No se moleste, por favor.
No, pero si me
Señorita
hará bien,
Woodhouse. Señorita.
¿Qué le ha parecido el domicilio? No, sí, Woodhouse siempre tuvo lo más bonito de... Es la escalera.
¿Es ese arranque?
Siento que no podamos hacer
¿Qué te ha parecido? Bella y bien vestida, pero infatuada, ridícula. Me alegro que no te decidieras a aceptarlo.
No fui yo quien no se decidió, fue él el...
No, Harriet. Fuiste tú misma. Y me alegra que tu propia falta de seguridad te librara de él.
Bien, querida. Considerando que nunca la hemos visto hasta ahora, parece una mujer agradable. Yo juraría que le gustaste. Habla demasiado deprisa y con la voz muy aguda, pero han sido tan amables con nosotros que... Oye, ¿no te parece que debiéramos tener alguna atención con ellos?
¿Atención?
Sí, alguna reunión en su honor, party o cena.
Porque creo que las cosas que... Es una temperatura deliciosa, gracias.
Ahí va, no nos han dejado sin cabello.
No, muchas gracias.
También ha salido muy bien. Es que James...
Pues, siempre he pensado que...
Se lo aseguro. Jane Fairfax es una muchacha encantadora. Una muchacha inteligente, interesante, tan educada, ¿verdad? Y tan semejante a una dama. Verla encerrada en este encierro, en esta soledad. No voy a permitirlo. Y le aseguro que ya he tomado mis medidas. Y puede que no termine esta amable fiesta sin que yo dé la sorpresa. Pero no me pregunte porque no seré indiscreta.
No la pregunto, señora Elton.
Que no sepa tu mano izquierda lo que hace tu mano derecha. Oh, Jane. Perdón. Querida Jane, hablábamos de usted.
Es usted muy amable, señora Elton.
¿Se da cuenta de que estamos en abril? Sí, Sí, junio está muy próximo. Debe usted pensar en su empleo. Ya he escrito a mi hermana, la señora Suckling, y estoy segura de que ella le recomendará a los Partridge. Son precisamente las personas deseables, de verdad.
Siento que se haya tomado esa molestia, señora Elton, pero no pienso abandonar Highbury por el momento. Cuando lo desee solicitaré su amable ayuda.
Pero, querida Jane, le estoy hablando de una situación auténtica. Con los Partridge, ¿se da cuenta? Con los Partridge, que es como decir con los Sucklings, mis hermanos en Maple Grove. Gentes de calidad.
Estoy segura, pero no he pedido nada por mí misma. Sentiría que usted lo hubiera hecho en mi nombre.
Pero, querida Jane, no creas que le estoy hablando de la situación.
No veo al señor Weston.
Mi marido tenía unos negocios urgentes que terminaron en Randalls antes de venir, pero creo que ya no tardará.
Pobre señorita Fairfax. No creo que merezca el castigo de ser protegida por la señora Elton. Pero cosa extraña. A ella parece complacerle esta amistad.
Si la acepta, tal vez es porque sea la única amistad que se le ha brindado realmente.
No opino yo así. Jane Fairfax ha recibido atenciones por parte de todos, especialmente de usted. Todos sabemos en cuánta estima le tiene.
Me refería solo a amistades femeninas, pero ya que lo menciona, debo decirle que no oculto la admiración que siento por esa joven.
Admiración que pudiera trocarse en otros sentimientos.
Aun cuando yo tuviera un sentimiento más importante, no sería correspondido.
Al menos, ¿no es usted vanidoso?
Uy. Por lo que veo, me ha incluido usted en su afición favorita y el próximo arreglo que está tramando es el de la señorita Fairfax, precisamente conmigo.
No ha sido idea mía, pero... ¿le desagradaría?
Pues, está muy enfadado.
Ay, me parece una persona encantadora. Digo que me parece una persona encantadora. ¿Sí? Su hijastro. Y yo no la hago en baile. Frank es apuesto. Y sus maneras son precisamente las que deben ser.
Gracias.
Estimo en mucho su opinión.
Pero debiera andar con precaución. No vaya a resultar atrapado. Señorita Woodhouse. Perdón. Señorita Woodhouse. Estoy pensando que usted debiera cambiar de ambiente, viajar un poco. ¿Por qué no va a Wingfield? Tengo allí muy buenas amistades y la recomendaría con cariño. Cualquiera de mis buenas amigas la atendería en mi nombre y la introduciría en sociedad.
Gracias, señora Elton. Pero me considero lo suficientemente introducida en la sociedad que deseo.
Sí, desde luego. Pero no quise decir, y sobre todo conociendo a todas estas encantadoras personas. Knightley, los Weston.
El señor Knightley y los señores Weston son nuestros mejores amigos.
Los Weston me agradan especialmente. El capitán parece un caballero. Y ella es una buena mujer. Pero allí está ese encantador anciano. Qué admirable criatura su padre. Qué el bosque. Le aseguro que me agrada demasiado. Imagínese que aquí en el bufete estuvo tan galante conmigo que hasta mi caro esposo sintió celos. Se fijó en mi vestido. Admirable.
Large house with its own grounds as one enters the village, do you not, Miss Woodhouse?
Hartfield is on the outskirts of the village.
Mr. Elton pointed it out to me on our drive here. I was greatly struck by its likeness to Maple Grove, my brother-in-law Suckling's seat near Bristol. Do you know that part of the world, Miss Woodhouse?
No, I'm afraid I do not.
The grounds particularly put me strongly in mind of Maple Grove. The laurels are in the same profusion as in your house and stand in very much the same way just across the lawn. And I had a glimpse of a fine large tree with a bench round it, am I right?
Yes, that is so.
My brother-in-law Suckling has just such another. Only the tree I fancy is larger. It is considered rather fine. Do try a piece of shortbread, Miss Woodhouse. My cook, I'm afraid, is hardly all that one could desire, but at least she can make a tolerable shortbread.
No, thank you.
No.
But perhaps Miss Smith.
Oh, Miss Sue. Do help yourself. My brother and sister have promised us a visit in the spring, when you must really join us in some expeditions, Miss Woodhouse. They'll have their own barouche landau, of course, which holds 4 comfortably, so with our own carriage, transport should present no difficulties. You have many such parties already, I expect, do you not?
Not many. This is not a very smart society, Mrs. Elton.
You're fond of music, so I understand, Miss Woodhouse.
And who gave you that information, Mrs. Elton?
I told my caro sposa before we were married that I could perfectly well do without the luxuries of Maple Grove, but I said, to be quite honest, I do not think I could exist without a musical society. Without music, life would be a blank to me.
Indeed.
Miss Woodhouse, I hope we shall have many sweet little concerts together. You and I should form a musical club and have regular weekly meetings at your house or ours. Yes, I think that would be a capital plan, would not it?
Mrs. Elton, I really think you have been misinformed about me. Miss Fairfax is the person you require. She is the musician.
Ah, yes, she is absolutely charming, is not she? I quite rave about Jane Fairfax. The sweet, interesting creature, so quiet and ladylike. And with such talents. I do know enough of music to speak with certainty on that point. You'll laugh at my warmth, I know, but upon my word I talk of nothing but Jane Fairfax. And her situation is so unfortunate, is not it? Miss Woodhouse, we must do something for her, you and I. We must bring her forward. Such a talent as hers should not be allowed to remain unknown. I dare say you've heard those charming lines of the poet. Full many a flower is born to blush unseen and waste its fragrance on the desert air. We must not allow that to be said of poor Jane Fairfax, must we, Miss Woodhouse?
I think there is very little danger of that, Mrs. Elton. Her talents are quite widely known.
But I fancy that where you and I lead, Miss Woodhouse, others will follow, do you not?
Do you think so?
One can see she feels the want of encouragement, but I like her the better for that. I confess it is quite a recommendation to me, Miss Woodhouse. I'm a great advocate for timidity in a woman.
Indeed.
But I'm afraid one doesn't often meet with it these days.
No, that is very true.
Yes, Jane Fairfax is a delightful creature, and I shall have her very often to my house, I can assure you. And I shall make it my business to see that she finds a good situation. My acquaintance is so extensive that I've no doubt of hearing of something suitable before long. With people of some consequence, I mean.
Of course.
Which reminds me, Mrs. Weston seemed a good-hearted, motherly sort of creature, I thought. She was your governess, I believe. I confess I was surprised to find her so much the gentlewoman.
Mrs. Weston is a very old and valued friend of my family, Mrs. Elton.
And on returning her call, guess who was among the company? Knightley himself.
Who?
Knightley, from Donwell Abbey. Oh, you surely know who I mean. I must confess I had a great curiosity to see him after what I'd heard from my caro sposa. I liked him, Miss Woodhouse. Yes, I did. I don't know your opinion of him, but I liked him very well indeed. His manner to me I thought particularly open and friendly and gentlemanlike. Yes, I'm not ashamed to admit that Knightley impressed me most favourably.
Insufferable woman, intolerable creature. Knightley, indeed, I could not have believed it.
Nevertheless, it is my name.
To make the remarkable discovery that you are a gentleman. Well, I doubt very much whether you will be able to return the compliment by finding her to be a lady. I doubt it very much indeed.
Emma.
Oh, vulgar creature, little upstart, with her lord and master and her caro sposo. Oh, silly affectations and underbred finery, and to propose that she and I should form a music club as though we were bosom companions.
And shall you?
No, sir, I shall not.
Oh, you know, your home reminds me of Maple Grove, which is the seat of my brother, Mr. Suckling. The hall, and the size of the rooms. I'm really quite struck by it. I almost fancy myself there.
Well, I'm glad you can feel so at ease.
Yes, oh, my brother and sister will be enchanted with this place. People who have extensive grounds are always pleased to meet other people with extensive grounds.
I'm afraid you overrate Hartfield. Surrey is full of beauties.
Don't tell me about Surrey. I always say it is the Garden of England.
Yes, but many counties are called that.
No? I fancy not. I never heard any county but Surrey called so.
Ah. Well, I know little of other places. We are a quiet set of people. more disposed to stay at home.
Yes. Well, your father's health must be a great drawback to your seeing the country. Why does he not try Bath? It would do him the world of good.
He has tried it before without receiving any benefit.
No, it will do him good, if only to improve his spirits, which I understand are sometimes much depressed. You must take him. A line from me and you would have some of the best society in the place. And my particular friend there, Mrs. Partridge,
Thank
I'm gladly...
you. Going to Bath is out of the question. Mrs. Elton, I have not asked you if you are musical, and that is because your reputation has preceded you. All the town knows you are a superior performer.
Well, I am dotingly fond of music, and my friends say I'm not entirely devoid of taste. In fact, I told Mr. Ree when he asked me to marry, I said I did not have to have 2 carriages, as I did before, and I could even accept a smaller house. My house before was a good deal roomier, I assure you, but no. The world is not necessary to me because I am blessed with so many resources in here. But, said I, without music, my life would be a blank. In fact, you and I must establish a musical club, and we could have regular meetings at your house or ours, because I don't want to give up my talent, do I?
Mrs. Elton, I'm certain it would take something more dramatic than a change of towns to dislodge a thing as great as your talent.
Oh, well, I myself don't call it great. I only know that my friends think so. We met the Westons. He is already a favourite with me. And I was astonished that she was so ladylike. Was she not your governess?
Mrs. Weston's modest propriety makes her a model for any woman.
Indeed, her
And you know who came in while we were there?
I cannot imagine.
Knightley.
Knightley?
Knightley! Mr. Ree's friend. Well, there's one friend of whom you need not be ashamed. Quite the gentleman.
Knightley? Never seen him before, and she called him Knightley.
I saw her at church. She seemed
vulgar, base, conceited, crass. How do you do, Mrs. Starr?
Good morning, Miss Woodhouse.
She actually seemed pleased to discover that Mr. Knightley was a gentleman. I doubt he'll return the compliment and find her a lady. Mr. Simons, good morning. She proposed that we form a musical club. Is it possible that Mr. Elton met her while doing charitable work in a mental infirmary? There is only one thing to do with a person as impossible as she.
What?
I must throw a party for her. Otherwise, everyone will feel at once how much I dislike her.
We're so excited about the party. And do you know whom I just adore? Who I want to wrap up and put in my pocket?
Knightley?
Jane Fairfax. Oh, I rave about her. Do you know what I admire most about her? She's timid. I'm a great advocate for timidity. But I dare say that you know the lines of the poet. Full many a flower is born to blush unseen. We must not allow them to be verified by sweet Jane.
There is no danger of that. The Campbells take great care of her.
Whatever advantages she's got from the Campbells have palpably come to an end. But if you and I set the example, many will follow. Well, we live in a style which could not make the addition of Jane Fairfax the least inconvenient. I am simply going to adopt her, and I think that you should do it with me.
Fancy myself at Maple Grove. My brother-in-law, Mr. Suckling's seat, you know. Yes, the morning room there is just such a shape and size as this. Mr. E?
Yes, my love.
Is this room not astonishingly like the morning room at Maple Grove?
Very like indeed, Augusta. No one observes things as you do.
I am extremely partial to Maple Grove. My brother and sister will be enchanted with this place. People with extensive grounds are always pleased with anything in the same style.
When you've seen more of the country, you may think you've overrated Hartfield. Surrey is full of beauties.
Oh, yes, I am aware of that. It is the Garden of England, you know. Surrey is the Garden of England.
Many counties, I believe, are called the Garden of England.
Kent and Evesham, too. No, I fancy not. I never heard any county but Surrey called so. My brother and sister have promised us a visit in the summer. They will have their barouche landau, of course, which holds 4 perfectly. But you will have many parties of that kind, I suppose, Miss Woodhouse.
No, not many. We are a very quiet set of people, I believe.
Well, we must do something about that, must we not, Mr. E?
Indeed, Augusta.
We've been calling at Randall's. Very pleasant people they seem to be. Mr. Weston seems an excellent creature. Quite a first-rate favourite with me already, I assure you. And Mrs. Weston, she was your governess, I think. I was astonished to find her so ladylike, quite the gentlewoman. And who do you think came in while we were there? Knightley. Knightley himself. My cara sposo had spoken of my friend, Knightley. Well, I declare he need not be ashamed of his friend. Knightley is quite the gentleman. And then Jane Fairfax. Oh, I quite rave about poor Jane Fairfax. And I've resolved to do what I can for her. I shall look out for a situation for her as a governess.
Insufferable woman. With her caro sposo and her Mr. E. Actually to discover that Mr. Knightley is a gentleman.
I thought she was a very pretty sort of young lady, though she speaks a little too quick. No doubt she'll make him a good wife, but I think he had better not have married.
Come, Mr. Woodhouse. You mustn't be an enemy to every marriage.
And poor Jane Fairfax, whatever her faults, has not deserved this. To be pitied and patronised by such a person. And now she must spend almost every day with the Eltons. With her taste and her pride. How could she endure it?
Perhaps it is better than being always at home.
You're right, Mrs. Weston. Miss Fairfax might well prefer to be invited by others, but she receives attentions from Mrs. Elton, which no one else pays her. She deserves better.
I know how highly you think of Jane Fairfax.
Yes? Anybody may know how highly I think of her.
As always, I would like to begin today with some of the most spiritually uplifting words from the Old Testament. Words that I have found most comforting. Let deceitful lips be made dumb.
I declare this reminds me of Maple Grove. My sister will love this house. She delights to travel. She has the latest carriage, large and comfortable enough for 4, and high enough that one can see for miles when one is travelling into the countryside for summer parties.
Parties in the countryside? We're a very quiet set of people. We like to stay in the home.
I understand your situation, Miss Woodhouse. Why does he not try Bath? Well, the waters I find are so agreeable.
My
It is
father...
such a cheerful place. It would cheer many an elderly gentleman up, and for you, of course, who had lived such a secluded life out of the best society. Well, just a line from me would open up a host of new acquaintances.
Oh, we have heard that you are very musical, Mrs. Elton.
Oh, I dote on it. Dote. As I said to Mr. E, don't give me 2 carriages, don't give me enormous houses, but I could not live without music. No. Life would be a blank to me. We should establish a musical club. Have regular meetings at yours or mine. As leaders of society, we should show the way. Who else have we visited? Oh, the Westons, of course. I was rather astonished to find her so ladylike, as I believe she was your governess. Oh, and who do you think we met while we were at Randall's? Knightley. Knightley himself. He's so particular a friend of Mr. E. So often mentioned, I was impatient to meet him. And I must do my caro sposo the justice of saying he need not be ashamed of his friend. Knightley is quite the gentleman. Biscuits, darling.
Absolutely.
Knightley, indeed. Never seen him in her life, and she calls him Knightley. Insufferable woman. Horrible, upstart, vulgar being with her Mr. E and her caro sposo and her carriages and air of pert pretension and underbred finery. Actually, to discover that Mr. Knightley is a gentleman and that the woman who brought me up should be ladylike. I've never met her equal. Knightley, indeed. I've known him all my life, and even I don't call him that.
Enter not into judgment with thy servant, O Lord. For in thy sight shall no man living be justified.
Cannot be a long acquaintance. He's only been gone 6 weeks.
My wife, Mrs. Augusta Elton.
This house is very like my brother Mr. Suckling's seat at Maple Grove. Very like. I'm quite struck by the likeness. Is it not astonishingly like, dear husband?
Very like.
I really could almost fancy myself at Maple Grove. The staircase, as I came in, I observed how very like the staircase is, placed in exactly the same part of the house. I assure you, Miss Woodhouse, it is very delightful to me to be reminded of a place I am so extremely partial to as Maple Grove.
A most impressive residence.
Whenever you are transplanted, like me, Miss Woodhouse, you will understand how very delightful it is to meet with anything at all that reminds one of what one has left behind. We have been calling at Randall's. What pleasant people the Westons seem to be. And who should call in while we were there? Knightley. Knightley himself. Of course, as so particular a friend of Mr. E.'s, I had a great curiosity to meet him. My friend Knightley had been so often mentioned that I really was impatient to see him. And I must do my caro sposo the justice to say that he need not be at all ashamed of his friend.
Knightley. I could not have believed it. Knightley. Never met him before in her life and calls him Knightley. And to discover that he is a gentleman. Upstart, vulgar being with her Mr. E and her caro sposo.